Greetings, groovy people! Welcome to the channel. I'm the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon. This is the monthly Q&A. I answer questions first and foremost from my patrons at the $5 level and higher. And then if anyone who's like a viewer or reader of my comic or, something of that nature, if they have questions and I have space and time to talk about it, I will answer those questions also. And by time to talk about it, I know that seems very arbitrary, because it is. But this is an art channel. I try to talk about like my free webcomic, Dark Horse, links down in the description, as well as like a lot of other art related things that I do or have thoughts on. Yeah, let's jump right into the questions. I got roughly 4 questions. I'm going to try to group the ones that are similar together, although it's always a little bit all over the board, right? Because questions are random. But first and foremost, I am going to start with some anime questions I got. First one is, what's your favorite anime? Wow, it's almost like a trick question, isn't it? It's the same. I get the same feeling whenever somebody that I know or don't know asks, what's your favorite band or what's your favorite song or something. It's like, I have so many and it depends on my mood, right? So I'm gonna say a couple that will always be my all-time favorite, that I know that I'll enjoy anytime I go back to it. Number 1 on the list is, like, of longer animes, is Full Metal Alchemist. Both the original OVA that came out in 2005 that had a separate ending from like the manga, and Brotherhood. I like things about both of these animated series. I can't really say which one is better. I definitely, because they both have their pros and cons. I love the soundtrack to the Full Metal Alchemist OVA. I love the animation's good on both of them, so that's neither here nor there. But I find it interesting how they decided to end the series. Now the movie is a different thing. I kind of liked Conqueror of Shambhala. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It was okay. It had a lot of interesting themes and the animation was great. Not sure that we needed it. I'm not going to talk about the Star of Milos. It was just an extended filler episode, and it wasn't good, it wasn't bad. I mean, it exists. There's nothing wrong with it. It just exists. But yeah, I did really enjoy Full Metal Alchemist. That's a series that I'm going to want to rewatch again, and a manga that I will want to reread. Of course, another one is the original Sailor Moon. I know, I'm sure people are sick of hearing about Sailor Moon, but it has its crown for a reason. It was great. It was great. I liked Fushigi Yûgi too. But like, it got real. God, it should have stopped at like the first series. Now I never finished like the other series. I liked the mangaka, but I really felt that she didn't need to keep going with Fushigi Yûgi. And there's like even then there's like problems in the story that extend to the anime, because the anime actually follows the manga. Yeah, it pretty much follows the manga. Wow. And of course, I would even, I would almost put Cowboy Bebop before Sailor Moon as an adult. But I don't know, I like them both a lot. But I would have to say those 3 are like my favorite anime that I watch and rewatch when I have time. There's a lot of really fantastic anime out there. There's a lot of good new anime. I wasn't really considering like movies as like anime. I guess I could say Princess Mononoke, if we're gonna go into like film. Princess Mononoke is probably one of my favorites. And Howl's Moving Castle, actually. I like both the book and the animation. different, I mean, they have a lot of similarities, but they also have very different, like, you know, themes and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Akira, oh my god. Akira is also, I can't believe that, you know, brain fart. Akira was really fucking good. One of my favorites, but I mean, if we're talking about like just standalone films, not like animated series, Akira was, it wasn't like one of my first anime, I think, oh god. Like, if we're not talking about stuff like Thundercats, this is like, I'm going away from the question, but if we're not talking about, you know, stuff that was animated by Japanese artists like Thundercats or Rankin and Bass films were primarily Japanese animated, I think Wicked City was actually my first anime, which my sister is 4 years older than me, and they had it at like either Hollywood Video or Family Video. We didn't usually go to Blockbuster because I feel like they were a little more pricey. I can't remember. That doesn't matter. I'm talking about stuff that doesn't matter. But I remember her renting that film, and I was not allowed to watch it because obvious reasons. But my sister, you know what, my parents, but particularly my mom, she was kind of the one who kept track of what we were and were not allowed to watch because she was the one who was there, you know, at home, right? But I remember my sister was allowed to watch this because she was probably 17 at the time or something like that. And when I say first anime, obviously, I mean animated movie? Not Sailor Moon I watched really early on, when I was younger than this, but yeah, Wicked City, my sister rented it, and I don't know, she watched it, and then, like, I don't know if, like, mom wasn't home or what the deal was, because they did keep an eye on what we watched. My parents actually gave, you know, two shits about what we were doing, you know? But we watched it. I felt so, oh my god, it was, if you haven't seen Wicked City, you can find it on YouTube, by the way. It was not something I was supposed to be watching. If she was 17, I was oh dang, I was probably 13 or 14. Yeah, so I was already into anime, and that's probably why she was like, you know, because, you know, if you like something, a lot of times if I find something that I really like and I know somebody else likes it, I'll want to, like, show it to them, you know, like, we have a lot of friends who really love the shit out of, like, punk music and stuff like that. So, like, whenever I discovered the Idols from, like, an independent radio station that I listened to, KDHX, you know, I had to immediately introduce that to my partner who loves the shit out of punk music, because it's, like, it's so awesome and raw, and it's hard to, like, sometimes it can be hard to find stuff like that, right? So I'm pretty sure that's kind of like the same vein that my sister was thinking when she's like, oh my god, I've got to show this to her. Because, like, she, you know, we're sisters, and, you know, sisters have, like, a special little relationship, things that they hide from their parents, you know? It was great to have an older sister who, you know, took pride in showing me the ropes and, like, scaring me and shit like that, but oh my god, yeah, I remember watching Wicked City with her. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I did like Ninja Scroll. Like, after she, you know, after this was just kind of like, you know, leading me down the path of liking anime, and it's interesting because, like, it was never really my sister's thing, although she does, like, you know, she appreciates and watches, you know, a lot of different things. Anime sometimes is included in that, but it was never really, like, her thing. It was just something that she introduced me to. At least the long form film, I should say. But yeah, that led me down to finding Akira, which I would put up there on the list also for, like, films that I really love. That was a really long story, but, you know, sometimes I feel like rambling and going down memory lane, and squeaking my chair as loud as possible. Sorry. Next question, are you watching any new anime or any new to you anime? I watched Way of the House Husband. Oh my god, that was so funny. And I did, I liked Aggrettsuko, I think that's how you say it. But it did get, you know, I'm not a big, I don't like that whole will they, won't they thing. I know a lot of people love the shit out of the tugging back and forth on the heartstrings, but that kind of shit gets pedantic to me. Like, a little bit of it's okay, you know, they started it out okay, and then they just kept doing it with her and, I forget what the hyena dude's name is already. God, I'm terrible. But yeah, I still like it. I think it's hilarious. It still made me laugh. I watched the entire series, and if they put more out, I'll probably watch the next season. But also Castlevania, I know it's not like, you know, out of Japan anime, but I love Castlevania. I think it's hilarious. I think it's very well done. And we've been, you know, I've been trying to not binge watch it because I like to savor it. And of course, JoJo's, oh my god, JoJo's is coming back September 1st. I scared the dog. Oh my god, he was like sleeping and he was like, what the fuck is that? I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry. But yeah, JoJo's, I love the shit out of JoJo's, and it's coming back September 1st. And again, I'm gonna try to like not binge watch it. Although I've watched JoJo's like the entire series like 5 times. It's like my comfort thing, which is insane, I guess. But yeah, are there any new animes out there y'all think I should watch? I mean, there's always new stuff coming out, but I don't just watch anime for the sake of watching anime. Like, it's like, I want to watch something that's good, you know what I'm saying? It's like, just because it's anime doesn't mean it's going to be good. I know there are some people who will like, just because it's a series, and they like the series, they will buy it. But I want stuff that's good, you know? So if there's anything else, I mean, that's subjective, isn't it? What a turd. I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, if there's anything out there you think that is really good that's coming out, please let me know. And I will see if there's some way for me to find it. We have Netflix. That's about it. We have Netflix. So, next question. How do you do this? Print and keep the webcomic going, and how do you go about printing it independently? I talked to someone at like the art market who asked that. So that was not a question from patrons. You know, it was kind of like, you know, you're trying to answer something on the spot. It's kind of hard to like do it. But like, regarding the printing, because I was talking about how like Act 4 is going to be coming out this year, 2022. I was just kind of talking, well, I try to do my edits and repairs on the act, you know, 1 act a year, because it's about all I can handle with all the other stuff that I do. But I just I've gone in depth, like, you know, what a day in my life kind of looks like, you know, getting up, having coffee, you know, working on stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I guess it's just, I form, you know, I have lists, but like, I keep track of what my projects are and what I need to get done, you know, within a week. And if I can get ahead, that's like the goal. Like, I'm way behind on my videos, but I'm trying to work on my buffer. Same thing for like comic pages. I still have a couple inked pages that I got done before going to my parents, but I try to gauge, you know, what are my goals for this month. I break it down. Like, I have goals for like the year, and then I have like goals for the month, and then I have goals that I gotta get done by the end of the week. And then there's like some extraneous stuff that's kind of floating out in the ether that's on the list that I get to when I have time. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. I'm very organized, but I'm also disorganized. Like, I have stacks and stacks and stacks of shit that have places that they belong in. But you know, because I've been like, every job I've had, you've kind of had to be fairly organized for. Like, even when you're like a waitress, there's like an order in which things happen, but then things are, you know, spanners are thrown into the works and all that. So, I don't know, I've just become a fairly organized person, like, when it comes to like what I need to get done, just from like college, working at the park service. I didn't just give tours there, I also, you know, worked on like the library, and I worked on like booklets and publications and stuff with the help of the historian and other people, the curators and, you know, other people. I think that's really helped with like teamwork also, but now I'm not really working on a team except for when I do like zine stuff or stuff with the collective. which is kind of something that I like to do. I do like working with other people. It's so much better when, like, you can pick who you work with versus, like, in school when they, like, just shove you in random groups. I guess that's kind of how things are in reality sometimes. But yeah, anyway, I'm digressing. But yeah, I've just kind of learned, you know, from, like, working for the park service. And then, oh my god, when I was, like, a secretary, even when I was, like, a cleaning lady, like, I was a cleaning technician for about 2 years. Cleaning technician. I was a janitor, y'all. They tidy up the title, call you a cleaning technician. But, you know, I had to be in charge of, like, my site and, you know, like, keeping track of, like, you know, the cleaning supplies and keeping things in order, knowing which day of the week I had to clean what, because there were some pretty large buildings that I cleaned. So your manager isn't there to manage you. You have to kind of figure out how to manage yourself, and they'll give you, like, guidance and suggestions on how to do it and what is expected to be cleaned what day of the week. But, like, you really have to manage yourself in your own time. So even when I was, like, a janitor, there's so much that, you know, you are responsible for. Keys, making sure things are locked, putting things back where they belong, not disturbing people's stuff, or disturbing people's stuff and making sure it's put back so that they didn't know what was disturbed. Going through the trash and seeing if there's any good stuff that's been thrown away, which there's almost always something interesting that's thrown away in the garbage. Oh my gosh, I am such a man. I go by Blue Dragon, but, like, my spirit animal is totally a raccoon, y'all. I am just my nickname in college and in high school was, like, Trashling. And it's so true. I am not ashamed of that at all. Anyway, let's move along. I have lists and stuff, and I have, like, goals, and I also have, like, lists typed up in a place where I can find them and see them, and then I just kind of, when one thing gets ticked off the list, I have, like, this little black book. As things are completed, you know, I create a new list each month, but as things are completed, I tick them off, and then I, you know, add new things and whatever, and I just kind of keep track of what needs to be done. And after a while, you know, with, like, the webcomic, you kind of get into the flow of things, you know. Pages are due on this day. I have to get this much done. But namely, if I can get a lot of work done, you know, like, and build the buffer, then I have a lot more freedom to kind of, you know, have a day where I feel like drawing. Or, you know, if I don't feel like drawing, then I can work on things digitally that day, you know, coloring, screen toning, whatever. Or if I don't feel like doing that, you know, I've got a stack of things I can ink. So mainly just, you know, getting tasks done and trying to get ahead of the game when you can, which isn't always possible as, you know, real life throws things, you know, at you. But that's just kind of how I manage it. I have one more question, and it's kind of a doozy. It's, how do you draw hands? I'm gonna answer this question because it was from a patron, but I'm going to actually, because I don't want to, like, I'm answering the question now, you know, to honor the Patreon thing, but I feel like this could, while I'm not the best anyway, I feel like I could spend more time on this. And the only thing I can do is give tips. What works for me may not work for you, but I'll just kind of show you and talk about how I improved on drawing hands. And my hands aren't even great. I need to start looking at feet, though. Holy shit, my feet, when I draw feet, they are awful, y'all. Awful. I'm gonna do, like, a whole video on how to draw hands. And it's not gonna be a good video. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm great at drawing hands. But if it can be, like, a building block from which you all jump and carve your wonderfully drawn hands from, that would be great. But, I mean, I look at my hands when I draw them, my hands, you know, my character's hands, and they have gotten better. They have gotten better, but it's not like they're great. They're not like, you know, it doesn't look like a mangaka actually drew those hands. It's just, they're expressive, but they're really not great. But I am better than I used to be, so, I mean, take everything I say in that video with a grain of salt. But to answer the question, how I draw hands is, I gesticulate quite a bit when I talk, So one thing that I keep in mind is gesture and motion, and first and foremost, how people use hands to talk. Now that's not telling you how to draw hands, that's just giving you like something to keep in the back of your mind if you want to be expressive with your characters. Hands and faces, like eyebrows and hands, and like the face in general, that's all like really, those to me are kind of all connected, not just like literally with the body, but you know what I mean, like in being expressive. Study a lot of hands. I do, like, I've done life drawing courses. I need to do some more because my anatomy, while it's improving, I've still got a lot of work to do. But I study them. I look at, like, you know, people. I look at real hands. I look at my own hand. I have a hand model thanks to my patrons who, you know, help me afford getting a hand model. Thank you. So I also look at, like, references, photographic references, and I look at how to draw books. I have a lot of how to draw books that have helped me kind of break down the hand. I watch tutorials. I still do watch tutorials, even as far as my art has come. And I try to break the hand down. Like, my hand is like almost a perfect square. Everyone's hands are different, but you know, you start your hand, your palm is like a square, and then you've got like these extensions, and they're broken up into 3 sections or segments, and then you've got your thumb that's, you know, kind of off. So I'll do like a more detailed video on this, but so I just start with the square. I do kind of start with like the shape, and like mostly I view it as like segments. Like I'll start with like lines, but then break it down into the segments and stuff, if that makes sense. I say, you know, a lot of people say shapes, which I do. Yeah, I do shapes, but they're not exactly shapes. I don't know. Like anymore, I don't do like I've never really, when I draw fingers, I've never drawn like cylinders for each segment. I've always just kind of done like little squares, and you can probably tell that my hands aren't all that great when I draw them anyway, but I do kind of break it down like that, and then I try to like just kind of do it in that way, thinking about like the hands as individual pieces, and then pulling back and looking at it as a whole to make sure that it looks okay. And then the last thing is, I know nobody likes to hear it, but practice, 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 practice. Drawing a comic sure does make you have to practice, because hands are a very important part of telling a story, because they are expressive. And so it's just, you know, having drawn them for so long, I've improved a little bit. But again, I need to get better, so it's not like my advice is even that great. But yeah, next month I will do in the Q&A video, I will actually prepare a video on how to draw hands. And if I get a couple more questions for the month of September, I will also answer those questions. So I want to thank my patrons and my Subscribe Star member. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate your patronage and support. If you are a viewer or reader or both, thank you so much for watching, liking, and subbing and that stuff. Thank you so much for your time, essentially, because time is the most precious thing that we have. So thank you for sparing a little bit of time with me, sharing that time. I'm out for this week. We'll be back next week with a video on the Aradia project I'm working on. Woo! I'm so excited. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Peace and love. Fare you well. And keep on trucking.